Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be fighting Sirus, Awakening level 8, just to give you a little rundown of his skills. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. Okay guys, before you fight Sirus, you're going to want around 6000 EHP. You're going to want to have capped elemental resistances and maybe some chaos resistance. Chaos res isn't necessary, but it will help a lot because he does deal quite a bit of chaos damage. You're going to need a good amount of DPS, because the longer the fight goes on, the harder it gets. There'll be degen on the floor and such later on, which gets a bit of a pain if you let it spread too much. And you're going to need a jewel with corrupted blood on it. This is because his die beam inflicts corrupted blood, and if it touches you, you might just get wrecked just from that. Yeah, also maybe get a good movement skill like flame dash or dash, just to avoid certain things. Okay, so when you enter the arena, you're going to be greeted by these detomization storms. They are massive, and they deal fire, fizz, and chaos damage over time. They only damage you if you're near them. Just stay away from them, and you're good to go. And then you'll make your way around the corner into Sirus, and you begin the fight by walking underneath him. So when you start the fight with Sirus, he'll come down from his chair, and he will create a giant circle arena around him. You're not allowed to leave this. If you do, the phase will end and he will begin to float on his little chair and create a detomization storm. Every time you leave, he will just do the same thing and keep adding more, so try not to leave it if you can. So when you begin the fight, Sirus's projection will remain above the arena, and it will throw down some abilities such as the sweeping beams, the meteor strikes, and the mud geysers. So make sure you look out for those. The meteor strike particularly is very dangerous, and it probably will kill you if it hits you. Okay, so when he says die, he's going to fire a beam at you that shoots 3 different beams of energy. There's 4 total different beams. There's physical, fire, cold, and lightning, but he only uses 3 at one time. The physical beam inflicts corrupted blood on you. Well, that's why we need the jewel. The fire beam inflicts ignite with 200% more damage. The cold beam inflicts freeze with 200% increased effective chill. And the lightning beam inflicts shock with 200% increased duration. The die beam isn't really that scary in the first 3 phases. It's more in the 4th phase when it starts to move. For the first 3, it's just going to stay in the same spot, which will be directly in front of him. As you can see, Sirus's basic attack is just a little laser beam he fires out in front of him. I'm not going to freeze the video for that. It's just very easy to dodge, and yeah. So these are the meteor strikes I was talking about. Basically, his projection is going to light up the floor with a bunch of little red flares. After a brief delay, they're going to shoot down some meteors that deal high damage in a small area. They're quite easy to dodge, but when you're in the middle of the fight, it can be a bit hectic and you may not notice them. Also, after they hit, they'll leave a little degen on the floor for about, I think it's like 10 seconds. Watch out for that because it deals a lot of damage very quickly. Okay, so once you get Sirus down to 75% health, the first phase will end. He will jump onto his throne and start spawning a detomization ball. Basically, during this phase, only his projection will throw out the attacks he's been using, plus 1 more that he doesn't use in the arena. I'm not sure what it's called. It's the very first one he'll probably use. Yep, there it is. Basically, you just wait for the balls to move, and then you run back under Sirus, dodging his abilities, like so. And then the second phase is going to start. In the second phase, he will have 2 new moves, the Corridor Blast and the Meteor Maze, and I'll go over them when he actually uses them. Okay, so when he creates the Meteor Maze, he'll become invulnerable and make a little maze at his feet. The first time you see it, it'll have 1 wall, and then the phase after it'll have 2, and the last phase it'll have 3. You basically escape by running through the little marked exits that I've circled on the screen. If you don't escape in time, he will drop down and do a massive slam that will probably just kill you unless you are some super tank god. Yeah, it's that simple. Okay, so for the corridor blast, as the name suggests, you're in a corridor and Sirus will be blasting you. He's going to shoot projectiles on the left and the right side of the corridor, which you can dodge just by walking left and right, which I'm probably going to demonstrate and probably get hit by all of them. And you can also just flame dash through them and flame dash through Sirus, which is my personal way of doing it, just because it's fast and easy. You may get hit by one, but as long as you've got a decent amount of health, they won't one hit you. They deal a lot of damage, but they don't deal that much. So yeah. Going into the third phase, just the same stuff as before. He's going to create the ball again. You're going to have to dodge, and just going to have to walk underneath him. Nothing changes here. And as you can see, the second maze has 2 exits this time. You just quickly run out. Easy peasy. Okay, coming up to the fourth and final phase now. The phase change remains the same. You just dodge, you walk underneath him, as you've been doing. But when we get to phase 4, a lot of things are going to change, and I'll go over all of it when I get there. Okay, so when the final phase starts, you'll notice that Sirus merges with his projection. That means you don't have to worry about his projection firing, just random abilities at you while you fight Sirus himself. Unfortunately, Sirus gets a whole new moveset now, and he becomes pretty aids to fight because he will be immune for most of the fight, and he can off-screen you. So, let's get into it. As you can see, his auto attack remains the same. It's still the small weak beam, which is great for us. Beautiful, beautiful invisible attacks, nice. Okay, and as we can see here, the Meteor Maze now has 3 exits, all lit up for you, just run outside. Okay, so Sirus creates 3 illusions of himself and they all start channeling beams, which spawns a core of energy. The real Sirus will actually flash blue briefly before they start firing the beam, so you'll know which one's the real one, and you can hit him while he does this. I missed it here, but, just look out for it. Once the clones have finished channeling, they're going to spawn the core. The core makes 4 beams spin around the arena. Counterclockwise is quite big. When they touch you, they'll apply a debuff, and the debuff makes you take 10% more damage, and it slows you by 6% per stack. And it stacks up quite high, so you really want to avoid these. So this is the multi-clone die beam. Sirus will summon 12 clones in a circle, and you cannot attack him. He'll then start saying one of 3 voice lines to indicate the beam's coming, which are meaning is an illusion, feel the thrill of the void, or you will long for non-existence. He will fire the beam halfway through, and I will put it on the screen when he fires the beam during these sentences. When he fires his attack, he fires a lesser die beam, so make sure you dodge it. He will briefly glow to show which one's the real one, so you'll know where to dodge. Just look out for that. You can also just run around in a circle. Chances are you will dodge it. And now, as you can see, the phase 4 die beam moves alongside left or right, depending on where you are. Look out for that. That is the most dangerous move Sirus has to offer. Okay, so that covers pretty much all of Sirus's moves. The only thing I didn't talk about is the little degen that you can see on the side. That gets added by little meteors that hit the edge of the arena every now and then. I believe they stay there indefinitely. I'm not too sure, to be honest. But yeah, that's why you kind of want good DPS, so you can just end it before too much degen gets everywhere. Because if you step on it and you've got very poor defenses, that shit will just eat you alive. The best tip I can give for Sirus is to stay near him at all times, because his die beam can off-screen you very easily, and it's very difficult to actually get back to him with all the spinning beams and such. So if you just stay by him, as soon as he uses his die beam, you can just dash behind him. A lot of people don't like this fight because of the amount of off-screen mechanics he has, and also the amount of immunity phases, which makes it very awkward. Now I'm going to try and finish it on this build. Hopefully deathless. The build has very poor DPS, as you can probably tell. It's got like 400,000, but it has insane defenses. The only way I could see this build dying is if I get hit by a load of stacks and then die beamed, which I might be able to tank because I've got high block chance as well with recovery S on block. But I guess we'll find out. Yeah, so I'm going to fast forward and I'll see you at the end. One per peg death because I ran out of flash charges and I got frozen. Feels bad, man. I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.